Welcome back, Year 3. Thank you for coming back for this afternoon. Really pleased to see you here. We're going to be thinking this afternoon about PSHE. So this is where we're thinking about our personal, social, health and economic education. And that E today, standing for economic, really is what we're thinking about today. Economic is to do with money, and it's money we're going to be thinking about. Now, this is super relevant for us because, of course, we're learning about money in maths at the moment. And I said at the start of that unit, I'm sure you watched the video on it, that I think money is one of the absolute best maths units for us to be learning about because it's the most immediately and obviously relevant maths that we do. The adults in your lives will deal with and interact with money on pretty much a daily basis. It is, whether we like it or not, a hugely important part of all of our lives. And so learning to count and deal with money in maths is really important. But I think simultaneously, it would be a really good time for us to think about money during our PSHE lessons as well. Because it's one thing to be able to add up and take away with money, but actually understanding it and understanding how it affects us and impacts the decisions we make in life and so on is going to be just important. So we're going to have a series of PSHE lessons on money alongside these ones in our maths units as well. So I want to start off then with this. How can people make money? So I'd like you to pause the video here. I'd like you to have a really good think about all the different ways you can think for people to make money. Try to be fairly general. So don't just say, for example, they could work in a shop. That's quite a specific one. But try to widen this out a little bit. Let's try to think about some of the different ways that people can make money. So pause the video here, write down some different ideas, see what you come up with. Okay, so obviously you'll have had your own discussions at home, we'll have had our discussion here in school, but I reckon, even though I've not heard your discussions, I'm sure this was probably the most common one. There are all sorts of different ways people can make money, but I would say probably the most common one that you would have come up with would be jobs. So I gave a sort of specific example there, working in a shop, but of course there are many types of jobs that people may have. And this is usually the most common way for people to make money. It's in their job. And you might have thought about some different jobs. You might have had discussions about the types of jobs that people do at home. And this is probably our most common way. So again, pause the video here and let's actually widen it out a little bit. What kinds of people have jobs? What kinds of people have jobs? Which jobs can earn you the most or least money? Have a good think about it. See what you come up with. I'm really interested in the discussions that you have here. Okay, so hopefully then, as part of your discussions at home, you were talking about what kinds of people have jobs. Now, as a starting point, you might have said, well, adults have jobs. Good start. And that's probably the most common type of person that has jobs, but there are unfortunately some children in the world that have jobs. So a little bit like in Victorian era Britain, we've been finding out that some children 150 years ago had jobs. Well, the sad truth is some children in other countries have jobs. It's a law here that you are not allowed to have a job unless you are of a certain age, but not every country has that as a law, has that as a rule. So that's one thing to think about. Likewise, does every adult have a job? Maybe you kind of thought about the fact, well, actually, mum and dad have jobs, but, maybe possibly granny and granddad don't, or don't anymore, or, great granny and granddad. So that's one thing. Obviously, people stop having jobs usually when they get to a certain age, when they get towards the end of their life. That's usually because either they've sort of built up enough money that they don't have to work anymore, or it might be that they've got to such a kind of old and frail age that they don't feel able to do a job anymore. So there's lots of different reasons people might not have a job. I wonder though, whether you're talking about some adults of kind of what you might normally think of as a working age that don't have jobs as well. Maybe you had a discussion about that too. This was an interesting one, wasn't it? I wonder what your answers were. I'd have really loved to have been part of your discussions on this about which jobs earn you the most or least money. There are clearly a huge variety of jobs available to people, pretty much an infinite amount of types of jobs you could think of. There are all sorts of ways to earn money. Some people earn lots of money, some people earn less money. There's a huge variety and a huge spread, and I'm sure you came up with a big list. And even amongst one type of job, actually that can earn you lots of money or not a lot of money. Maybe you said footballer as a job that could earn you loads and loads of money, or YouTuber as a job that could earn you loads and loads of money. And certainly if you're at the really top successful end of that, you would earn lots of money. But there are also lots of footballers and YouTubers who are making pretty much no money. So hopefully you had a bit of a discussion about that as well. The fact that actually how successful you are at your job can impact on how much money that brings in. So we've talked a lot about jobs and money, and we've said that, you know, that's one of the main ways for people to make money. Is money the main reason people have jobs? This is an interesting one, isn't it? Have a pause of the video here. This would be a really great one if you do have mums, dads, people at home. Have a good chat with them. See what they say. I'm really interested in their responses. Is money the main reason they have their job? Are there any other reasons they have their job? Have a good pause of the video here, have a chat, and come back when you are ready. Okay, so hopefully you've had a really good discussion about this, because I think it probably is fair to say for many people, money is one of the main reasons they have their job. I bet there were probably some mums and dads when you spoke to them who said, do you know what, if money were no object, if I didn't need to worry about money, I wouldn't do my job. I'm sure lots of mums and dads at home said that. So it is true that actually money is a big motivating factor for many people to have their jobs, because without money, people can't afford their home and their food and all those really essential things in life. So for many people, money is one of the main reasons they have their job. But I bet people at home also said that there were other reasons that they like doing their job, or like doing their role. I bet lots of them would have mentioned the fact that they have lots of friends in the workplace, and actually they really enjoy going into work and having a chat. I know for me, being a teacher, actually, it's been great during lockdown. I've actually been allowed to leave the house and see my colleagues and see them and chat to them. And I'd say that's been one of the best things about my job in the last year or so. So I bet lots of people said the social side of work, they get to see people, a little bit like you guys at school, actually. I'm sure lots of you say, although getting an education might be the main reason we send you to school, I bet actually for you, the social side of school, so seeing your friends, is a really important thing. And actually that's true of jobs as well. I bet lots of your adults at home said having a job helps them have a bit of a sense of identity and gives them a bit of a purpose. So what we mean by that is it helps them to sort of feel useful or feel important or feel like they've got sort of something that's helpful to be doing. And that's a really big one. Now, we've talked a lot about money. Of course, some jobs either don't pay a lot of money or even don't pay any money at all. Some people do voluntary jobs, which means that they do the work, they do the job, but they don't expect to be paid for it. So some examples might be working in a charity shop. Often, not always, but often people in charity shops sort of donate their time to do it. It might be something like the picture here, working to sort of feed homeless people. That would be a really nice voluntary job that some people do. My wife and I volunteer at a mental health charity, so we do some work with them and don't get paid for it. And so that's an interesting one, isn't it? That there are jobs that people do where you don't get paid for it. And that again shows that there are lots of reasons that people have jobs that aren't to do with money. So these people that are working here to feed these homeless people, perhaps they're volunteering their time. They don't do it because they're going to get paid at the end of the day. They do it maybe to feel good, to be helpful, to give something back to their society and community. There are lots of reasons people might have jobs, and there's all sorts of really important reasons that people do so. And I think for a lot of people, their job gives them a lot of self-worth and self-esteem. We spoke about self-esteem last week in PSHE, and kind of feeling good about yourself, feeling useful, feeling like you're helping others, feeling like you're a good person, and actually having a job for a lot of people will give them that self-esteem as well as the money. Okay, then, so we've had a really good chat about money so far. The rest of our session today is going to be a big discussion. And like I said, if you've got people at home, mums, dads, brothers, sisters, dogs, anyone you've got at home, this would be a really good thing to have a good discussion about, because I think the more we're talking about this, the better. Often people can be quite secretive about money and they don't like talking about money. They see it as some people consider it a bit rude if you talk about money too much. But I think within our own family in a kind of safe environment, I think this is a fantastic thing to be talking about. So I would really encourage you today, while you're watching your videos, to pause now and have a good chat about money. So I've got on the next few slides some statements that are to do with money, and I'd like you to pause at each one and think about whether you agree or disagree with the statement that's on the screen. And really aim to have a good discussion about each one. So say why you think the way you do. We spoke in, I think, reading last week about this word. It's one of my favorite words actually in school, because it shows that we're really kind of supporting our arguments, that we are justifying our opinions. And this would be a really great word to include. So when you see these slides, a good kind of starting point, a good stem sentence, which means a sort of sentence starter, would be, I agree because, or I disagree because, and then you would give your own opinion. So let's have a look at the discussions, pause after each one and have a chat at home, see what you think. It feels good to earn your own money. If someone gives you money, they can tell you how to use it. Earning money means you can choose how you spend it. It doesn't feel good to have to ask for money for things. It's better to earn your money by doing jobs than just be given pocket money. Sorry about that. You shouldn't have to work for your pocket money. I bet there'll be a few heated discussions at home about that one. Okay, so hopefully then that sparked off a few discussions, and hopefully you might actually have formed some opinions of your own. You might have actually gone off on a real tangent and spoken about something different. As best you can, try to carry on these conversations, because the more we're talking about money, the more we're understanding it, the more we're kind of building up our own views about money and how it works. We're going to continue our PSHE discussions as the week goes on this term. We're going to think a little bit more about money, but hopefully that's been an interesting starting point and has kick-started a few discussions and opinions at home. Hopefully none of you have fallen out. Okay, have a good rest of the afternoon, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I will see you back here tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye.